Yeah. All right. Hi, everybody. Here's my audience. I'm going to get you set up here. All right. Here we go. On average, there are around 6 million automobile accidents in the United States every year. The chances of you or someone you love being in a car accident are just scary high. The National Safety Council estimates that 40,000 people lost their lives in 2016 in car accidents. That's about 117 people per day. My name is Mandi and I want to encourage you today to wear your seatbelt every single time that you get into a vehicle. It's a simple task that takes only 3 seconds to complete and could increase your chance of survival in a car accident up to 45% in the front seat of a car and up to 60% if in a light truck. One click can save your life or the life of someone you love. Looking at my audience in front of me, I know that they have both been in car accidents, as have I. Just this weekend, my husband and I were on our way to a friend's house and we hit a deer about 2 miles away from our home. Thankfully, in our accident, no one was hurt, but it just goes to show that they do happen and it's important to be safe and buckle up every single time you get into that vehicle. Today, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the rise in motor vehicle crashes and fatalities and share with you some sobering statistics about seatbelts. I'm also going to highlight rural seatbelt use and illuminate just why it's so important for country folks to buckle up to. Since only 3 seconds could save your life, you would think that everyone buckles up, right? Wrong. Even though, according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, 90.1% of Americans wear their seatbelt. That sounds pretty good, right? I mean, that's an A. But when we break down those numbers a little bit, that still leaves around 27.5 million people who risk their lives by not buckling up. 1 out of 7 people still don't wear their seatbelt, putting themselves at unnecessary risk of death or serious bodily injury. Seatbelts save lives. The NHTSA states that 13,491 lives were saved in 2015 because of the use of seatbelts. That's a huge number, but it's just not enough. Another 2,814 people could have potentially survived had they been wearing their seatbelts. It seems to me that such a simple task with such large consequences would be an easy choice to make. For me, I find that the reason that it's so important to wear your seatbelt isn't because that I've lost someone in an accident, fortunately, but it's because my mom always told me to wear my seatbelt. She never faltered. Even though we lived in the country and my dad never wore his seatbelt, my mom always wore hers and always encouraged me and made me when I was little. She made me wear mine. I do the same with my kids. I always make sure that my baby is buckled properly in his car seat, and my 6-year-old twins wear their seatbelt, no question asked, every time they get into the car. I'm still working on my husband. He tends to be one of the 1 in 7 that refuses to buckle up, but he's been doing a better job lately, at least when he's around us, to try and continue to set that good example for our kids. It's more important now than ever to buckle up. According to a Forbes magazine article, last year was the deadliest year on American highways in almost a decade. With drivers being more distracted now than ever, what with talking on the phone, texting, their busy lives, speeding, and lower gas prices causing more drivers to be on the roads, accidents are bound to happen, and when they do, you need to be as protected as you can by securely buckling up every time you get in a vehicle. I mentioned earlier that my country husband is working on breaking that bad habit of not wearing his seatbelt. It's been my experience as a farmer's daughter and being married now to a country boy that they will basically do anything to get that annoying dinging to stop. And they still don't wear their seatbelts. With the following information and statistics, I will shed some light on rural seatbelt use and show you just how important it is for even country folks to wear their seatbelts. Nebraska doesn't measure up very well against the national average of 90.1%. Only 83% of Nebraskans wear their seatbelts. This is partially due to the fact that in Nebraska, it's a secondary offense to not wear your seatbelt. In 2015, in just Nebraska, 191 people lost their lives in automobile accidents, and over 16,000 people were injured. Here comes some really eye-opening statistics. Out of those 191 people who died, only 26 were properly restrained. 74% that were unrestrained, over half of them were ejected from their vehicles. The CDC states that if Nebraska were to have a primary seatbelt law, that around 11 lives could be saved per year. That's someone's grandma, daughter, husband. You get my point. It's important for us to make the choice to buckle up since the law isn't making it for us here in Nebraska. An article by Lori Beck states that rural residents are at an increased risk for death from crashes and are less likely to wear their seatbelts. She gives a few examples of why this might be in her article, like not having a primary seatbelt law like we talked about earlier, and also higher speeds, open roads, and unpaved roads contribute to higher number of crashes and rollovers. The article also hints at the possibility of differences in urban and rural medical care and transport time contributing to the numbers as well. A Drive Smart Nebraska fact sheet put out by the Department of Health and Human Services states that motor vehicle fatalities are 5 times more likely to occur in rural areas compared to urban areas. So it's really important here in Nebraska that we buckle up. So make the smart choice, the only choice as far as I'm concerned. Every time you get into a vehicle, wear your seatbelt. Encourage those around you to buckle up too. Whether you're in the city in crazy traffic, driving down the interstate, or just down an old country road, take the 3 seconds it takes to buckle up. You never know when it could save your life. Thanks, guys. I look forward to answering any questions that you guys have. Just let me know. Thanks.